What on earth is this?
It's gone sick. And I don't like the term woke because I hear woke, woke, woke. You know, it's like just a term that half the people can't even define it. They don't know what it is.
That's pretty direct. He's distinguishing himself from DeSantis here because DeSantis is so committed to, like, woke. Everything about it, saying it constantly, attacking it constantly, that his lawyers had it legally defined. He talks about it nonstop. Have you watched the speech? It's hysterical. No, link it. Link it.
You think about it, but when you really think about it, the average drug dealer, I just saw a statistic, the average drug dealer in this country kills 500 people over a lifetime.
That's true, probably. Sure. Whatever. Sure. Yeah, okay. It's probably true. Whatever. Yeah, I believe it.
500 people. So when you look at that, and China has no problem, the countries with the death penalty, they're the only ones that don't have a problem with drugs. The only one.
Oh yeah, they're really obsessive about the death penalty for drug dealers. That's like a big conservative talking point now. It's really come up recently. I think that was because the Filipino president, it's the Philippines, right? Is like a huge, like, kill all the drug dealers guy. Yeah. Duterte? Is that okay? Yeah. He's not the president anymore. Isn't he running? Whatever. You know, it's for that sort of thing. He's not president anymore. Okay, gotcha. Well, he was known for it. Singapore too, but especially the Philippines. Yeah. It's just part of the broader, like, kill the degenerates vibe they're pushing. It's not surprising they would go for this. Yeah, we'll talk about Pence. Wonder if they'll classify people getting HRT third party after it's been banned as drug dealers. Well, people, I mean, in states where they already have laws banning trans healthcare, you actually can get felony sentences as a doctor providing it. And it is true that DeSantis did recently make it easier to give the death penalty in Florida. They're also obsessed with invading Mexico now. Nah, I don't think that talking point's going to run that well. The modern day GOP is actually really reliant on Latinos in order to win. The Latin population of the South had a pretty, like, drastic rightward shift in 2016 that's been maintained thus far. The Latin people in the American South seem to be okay with Obama, but they hated Hillary Clinton, same, and don't seem to care for Biden. You mean Cubans? Well, that's part of it, but I mean Latin people in the South, tens of millions of people, you know. Threatening to invade Mexico is not a winning talking point with them. Yes, Bernie Sanders polled extremely well with Mexicans. And people said that Bernie had no minority support because the core group of Democrat voting black Southerners overwhelmingly supported Hillary Clinton. But no media care was given to the fact that Bernie Sanders was getting incredibly popular with Latin Americans. Just
ones that don't. Singapore has a very strong death penalty. If you sell drugs, if you're a dealer, if you sell drugs, you get the death penalty. And people say, you know, let's go someplace else. Let's go to the U.S. and do it, where they don't even do.
Yeah, that's what street dealers in the Philippines and Singapore are like. Man, the market's gotten tough here with all the state executions. Let me fly to the United States. What? Oh. Another thing that's really working against the GOP here is the popularity of marijuana. How many states legal weed? How many are we on now? 23! Man, I remember the first states that were legalizing this. I remember when I was young, and I would talk with my parents when I was in, like, middle school, and I was like, hey, you know, like, is weed going to be, like, legal next? And they were like, it might take a bit, but probably. And yeah, now it's almost half of the states, and 8 states have decriminalized it. So in total, it's 31 who do not have, like, full illegality. 6 out of 10 Americans have access to legal weed. That's dope. It's going to be more difficult for Republicans to sell people on, like, radical anti-drug dealer rhetoric when everyone smokes pot. Do you smoke weed? I actually don't. I used to smoke weed, but now it just makes me anxious.
Do anything to you. I mean, they don't even do anything. And until you get smart, you're going to have a tremendous problem. But I had it so that President Xi was going to give the death penalty to people that made fentanyl and sold it into the U.S. But once I wasn't there, that that deal died very
He
quickly.
had almost committed President Xi to an execution campaign against his own people, but then sadly he lost the election. Or sorry, the election was stolen from him. Right. Why do you think Hispanic people are going right? For me, a lot of conservative Hispanics came from authoritarian nations, and it feels like a lot of them know nothing about American politics. Okay, not to like generalize, but Hispanic people care a lot about family. They care a lot about community, and they also tend to be, relative to the United States average population, socially conservative. Now, keep in mind what kinds of people come up here, right? Generally speaking, when poor immigrants come to a country, and not all Mexicans who come up here are poor, not all Latin Americans who come up here are poor, but a lot of them are, legal or illegal, it tends to be middle-aged or young men. And that's usually because a lot of them want to send remittances back to their poor family members, and it's easier to do that if you can find good work. A lot of Latin people in the south of the United States, or the Southwest, their work is in agriculture, their work is in landscaping, heavy physical work. A lot of men come up here. And men are a lot more conservative than women are, on average, basically everywhere. Additionally, I think that the pro-family values rhetoric of the GOP resonates extremely strongly with them. What's more, legal immigrants, who you'll note are the ones who can vote, usually have a kind of survivorship bias because they put in all the work to legally immigrate up here to the U.S. They feel kind of resentful towards the Mexicans and what have you who illegally immigrate. And there are about 13 million illegal immigrants in the U.S. They fall for the rhetoric. They don't like the idea that they're categorized with them. You know, they don't like the idea that society broadly is going to treat them, a legal immigrant, the same as an illegal immigrant. So they work really hard to distinguish themselves from the illegal immigrant, you know? It's survivorship bias. It's the same thing that like pick-me's from, say, the African-American community do. Like, there are black guys who grow up in the ghetto, who do pretty well, who get a good job, who move out of the ghetto, but they have like this chip on their shoulder because they really don't like the fact that black culture is largely defined by the experiences and art of lower class black people in America. So they take great effort to like distinguish themselves from that because they don't want to get like roped in. They don't want to be put in the same box. And that leads to a lot of like survivorship bias, social conservatism. Sorry, I rambled a bit here, but like that's the reason why. People always say it's because of Cubans. No, it's not. Cubans represent a very small portion of the Latin Americans in this country. Now, the Cubans that are here are generally pretty conservative because, yes, Castro did take all their plantations. And boo-hoo for them, right? But that is definitely not the whole story. And the Cubans are basically just all in Florida, but the shift rightward for the Latin Americans, that's like a whole southern border thing. You know, Mexico, Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, yeah.
He had no choice but to do it too. We were very, very strong. We have a lot of power over China. People don't realize it, but we have tremendous power over China, but they don't use the power. They don't know how to, I don't even think they think we have the power. We have tremendous power over China. Yes, sir, in the back with that beautiful cowboy hat. I want to get that's going to go.
Why is this cut up? It was cut up in the original too. Why is this stream so scuffed? I don't even know.
Go down in history ultimately, and Ashley Babbitt was killed, shot by, in my opinion, a rogue cop. He had no business doing.
Why is the Democratic Party so contemptuous of Latin American voters? It's not that they're contemptuous. It's that the Democratic machine is ancient. You guys need to understand that, like, in the mind of the people who make the decisions for the Democratic Party, they are all Clinton era or earlier. A lot of them have not adapted to the way things are now, whereas the GOP actually does have a lot more young people and a lot more, like, energized strategists, which is one of the reasons they've been able to keep up, despite everything the Democrats believe in being more popular with the average person in the United States. And if you go back like 30 years, black people were way more influential relative to Latin people in terms of minority representation. The Latin population in the U.S. has skyrocketed in the past 30, 40 years, and it's led to a significant shift. Here. Latin, or I should say Hispanic, I guess. Hispanic population in USA over time. There you go. Give me a chart. Do we got one that goes back earlier in 2000? Here. This is in millions of people, okay? So back in 1980, Reagan era, 1990, Clinton era, 22.6 million Hispanic people. But now, or at least in 2016, nearly 60 million. Obviously, the overall population of the U.S. has gone up as well, but like the amount of Hispanic people in the U.S. has literally more than doubled, nearly tripled, which has significantly changed the landscape. And the Democratic Party is just not good with change. They're not good at adjusting. They're bad. They're bad at it. Isn't it like by 2050 that there'll be a majority? Like a larger, I think it's that by 2050, white people will no longer be more than 50% of the total population, but I'm not sure. I forget the statistic at least. By the way, I'm pretty sure Hillary had a 2-to-1 lead on Bernie for the Latino vote. Wait, really? Wait, hold on. Bernie Sanders Hispanic vote. I remember Bernie Sanders having like insanely disproportionate. This is 2020, not 2016. Bernie Sanders' big win among Latinos in Saturday's Nevada caucuses underscores the potential. What are the numbers? Sanders won a stunning 53% of Latino voters, 3 times as much as the next closest competitor, former Vice President Joe Biden, 17. That's huge. That's massive. More than, yeah, 3 times as much the next runner-up. That is crazy. Yeah, in 2016, he lost to Hillary, but he was gaining over Biden. Really interesting. Okay. I thought I remembered him outdoing Hillary in this respect as well, but I guess it was just in 2020 that was the case. All right, so thank you for correcting me. God, 2024 is going to be painful.
Doing that, he shot her unarmed, and actually people say she was trying to hold back the people that were pushing her forward. Ashley Babbitt was the one that was killed. She was the one that was killed. And they like to say 5 people. That's the truth is. And there happened to be somebody else also in addition to Ashley. But Ashley Babbitt was a big supporter of everybody in this room.
There's been a big increase in Asian immigration. Do you think that has a big impact? If I remember correctly, Asian Americans have a massive shift in between first and second generation immigrants, where first generation Asian immigrants on average will immediately go to like the poorest part of your city, form an ethnic enclave, and then produce the best restaurants within a tri-state area. And then the second generation immigrants, the children of those first immigrants, will be like communists. I don't know. I remember there being a massive swing in between the in between the generations there.
Room and by every account, she was an incredible person and a great patriot, and he shot her like just like he had no problem. And then they wanted to shield him, right? They wanted to shield, and he ends up on NBC.
No, that's what I mean. The older ones are right wing, but younger Asian people tend to be left wing, I think.
See, being interviewed on NBC because he was so proud of himself. He thought he was a big shot, and they ought to look at his past record. By the way, take a look at his past record.
Kim Reynolds for governor of Iowa.
Good. That's right. I hate to say it, without me, you know she was not going to win. You know that, right? I gave you a couple of them. Without me, they wouldn't have won. But I gave you some good people. You have some good people here. But as far as the time, it's a great question because I've been watching DeSantis go out and say.
Yeah. Okay. 44% of Asian American registered voters surveyed think of themselves as Democrat. 19% think of themselves as Republican, 29% consider themselves independent. So for those who are willing to like assign themselves into a partisan category, it's more than a 2-to-1 advantage in favor of Democrat leaning. This is the case for basically every minority group. Though Hispanic people have shifted more in recent years, I don't think that's an unsolvable problem. I think there are like things the DNC could do to appeal better to them. Black people in America have for decades now, and probably will be for a long time, a very reliable base of Democrat support. If I go to African American political views, yeah, 84% of black adults identify with or lean towards the Democratic Party, while just 10% identify with or lean towards the Republican Party. An insane, like over an 8-to-1 ratio there. Insane.
I've got 8 years. It's going to be 8 years. Let me tell you something. Right there, you should vote against him. It'll take me 6 months to have it totally the way it was. We'll have it fast. It's
Who's
drilling,
doing this?
It's the wall, and it's
Who's
getting
doing...
criminals out of our country that have been allowed to come in so freely. We're going to get them out. ICE, we're going to double up on ICE and the Border Patrol. They're incredible people. Brandon Judd and Tom Hogan.
The lighting is shit,
people that we have are phenomenal people, but they don't use the good ones. They use very liberal, very radical left people, and it's hard to believe. You know, I did hundreds of miles of wall. Then I said, you know, we should do more. What do you think? And they gave me other locations. We were going to add another 200 miles to it. We started, would have been done within a few weeks, and the stuff was all there. They actually lifted it up and took it where Texas and Arizona can't get it. Can you believe it? Instead of saying, you guys put it up yourself, at least. But they didn't want it up. That's when I said, these guys actually believe in open borders. Who can believe in an open border? But when I heard DeSantis go out and say, and talk about 8 years, we need 8 years. You don't need 8 years. You need 6 months. We can turn this thing around so quickly. If you need 8 years, who the hell wants to wait 8 years? You don't need 8 years. I'll have it turned around. And I think fully turned around. We'll be drilling and we'll be doing a lot of things. We'll be energy independent.
Where is the wall right now anyway? Can somebody, is there like a map I can look at? Just reminder that the majority of illegal immigrants in America overstay visas and don't literally hop the fence at the southern border. The wall is a fence that's falling apart. Well, I'm sure the fence will keep them out. I'm sure the fence will work.
In 6 months, we'll be able to do that in 6 months. Don't forget, I filled up the National Reserves. I did a lot of things at very cheap prices. Congress held me back, actually. But we had a deal where I was going to fill it up for nothing, you know, when the oil was down so low because we had so much of it. We have more liquid gold under our feet than Saudi Arabia and Russia. Think of it. We have more than any.
All right, here we go. Thank you. The Wall from USA Today. The Wall Interactive Map Explorer. Okay, guys. See all layers? Okay. Red means pedestrian fence. Yellow means vehicle barrier. Green means other fence. Okay. So all of this red right here is literally just a pedestrian fence, like the kind you and I could climb. View aerial footage.
We are coming into the Otay Mesa section of Tijuana and eastern San Diego County. It's a heavy commercial port of entry here.
Where?
The Trump administration is planning to very different types of barricades. One of it is to prevent digging under.
Where is the...
It's going to have
is it this?
For at least
Is it
30
this
minutes to
part?
give agents time to respond to an effort. Finally, it's
This line?
side has
Okay.
to be, quote unquote, aesthetically full of any other composition.
Why would you build... Nothing. I just wonder how many people thought that, like, illegal immigrants were escaping into America by just moving into San Diego. Just, like, running directly into San Diego. I mean, I don't know. Sir, they got through. Wait, hold on. I want to see a little... Yeah, there we go. Look at all that. Wait, is there, like, nothing in all of Texas? Wait, what? Okay, guys. They got some fence blocking... Piedras Negras from Eagle Pass right here. You could go here or here, but they got that. Visual tour of what? There's a river? Okay, you know, there's a slur for Hispanic people. I don't think that Republicans think that rivers will stop Mexicans.
As you fly up this river and you look out over it, the sheer length of it just seems overwhelming. We're talking about a stretch of 1,295 miles of U.S. border. It's nearly 2/3 of the entire border. Right now we've got a whole flock of birds taking off on the ground. So
whoa, those birds were illegal immigrants.
Vultures. It's really verdant up here. We're flying over Laredo right now. Here is where President Trump is the only place he's known to have actually visited the border. He did so during the campaign and walked out onto one of the river bridges in white golf shoes, and he was wearing, for the first time ever, the ball cap with the motto of his campaign, "Make America."
Oh, there's the there's where you get in, like normally, right? This is the big, the station? This one?
Exporting to the United States, rapists and criminals. There were...
That's pretty true. God damn, man, there was like nothing. What about the vehicle barrier?
We're over a 1,000
Okay.
landmark
All right.
for you. Now from El Paso all the way to San Diego, the border thing visible. It's made visible. Paso. We are now.
That looks pretty
flying
easy to
over,
climb.
I believe, a vehicle barrier. That's still there. Yeah, there's still a vehicle barrier down beneath us, but no longer pedestrian fencing. It took American and Mexican surveyors nearly a decade of really tortured infighting and expeditions and political disputes to draw the line that we're flying over. And then they had to move it. Southern Arizona actually used to be in Mexico, so did a lot of the rest.
I'm sorry, this is all kind of tangential. I just think it's really funny how this gets talked about, but the thing that's actually being discussed in reality is so goddamn stupid. Like, we're literally, like, it's the entire southern border of the United States. We're literally like, okay, what if we just build a wall? I don't know how many of you remember, but before this became common public discourse, the idea of just building a wall was a joke. When Donald Trump first said it, like, everyone was laughing hysterically. It was like, oh, okay, sure, we'll just build a wall. Like, it was a joke. Like, nobody took that seriously. And I still don't. But now we all just have to get used to it being this like, ongoing talking point.
And we've seen a wall get built.
Extending out into the water. Jesus.
Where will a wall get built? What kind of wall will get built? Chip will impact questions remain unanswered.
And why not extend it further?
To Congress, the President, and the American people. Will a wall, so after it gets out ways, it stops.
All right.
Other country, we were going to double up on them. We were not only going to be dominant, we were going to be beyond dominant. We were going to be bigger than Russia and Saudi Arabia ×2. We were going to make a fortune with energy. We were going to start paying off debt and further reducing taxes. It was so beautiful. It was working so great. And then they just shut it all down. So a shame. But it's not 8 years, it's 6 months. And we'll be back in business, and sooner than that. And we'll be back in business, and those tractors are going to be spending a lot less money for their energy. And the food prices are going to start coming down, and a lot of things are going to start coming down. It'll be a beautiful thing to watch. It's going to happen very quickly. And I'm very experienced now. You know, it's not like I'm going in. Not like I'm going in and say, oh, this is a nice office. Is this the Oval Office? It takes you about a year to sort of say, can you believe this? This is the Oval Office.
What the f*** is he saying right now? Like, really, though? What?
Don't have to say that. We're going to do it very quickly, and I think within 6 months you're going to see a major part of the comeback. Not 8 years. He'll stop saying that. Watch. He's going to stop saying that, because if he needs 8 years to turn it around, he's saying, well, I'm going to, you know, I can be. Let me tell you, I'll go 4 years, and if I do a great job, we're going to have a great Republican. Somebody is going to go another 4 years or 8 years. So it doesn't make any difference. But when he says 8 years, every time I hear it, I wince, because I say, if it takes 8 years to turn this around, then you don't want him. You don't want him as your president. You ought to go to the 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th guys, but they're usually polling at about 1%. Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, well, we'll do one more. Go ahead. Go ahead. Hi.
This is a weirdly small room for Donald Trump, don't you think? Like, you can hear from the claps, he's in a pretty small room. It says Donald Trump campaigns in Iowa, but it sounds like he's in a room with like 20 or 30 people asking him questions. More of a press conference than a campaign.
Hi, President Trump. I just graduated high school 2 weeks ago.
Great.
What?
Thank you. And so my question for you is, since your last term in office, there have been a lot of attacks on education in terms of censorship and all of that. So I was wondering what your thoughts were on parental control and that kind of thing within schools, school choice, and all of that. Education is very important to me, so wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
So
Thank you.
very good question. Congratulations, by the way. Good. Were you a good student? Were you good? Pretty good. Okay, just pretty good.
She just got a $180,000 scholarship, a naval scholarship to go to Yale.
Wow. Oh, wow. She's very modest.
Was that her dad who just took the mic to get the chance to say that to Trump? Oh God, this is like a McMansion millionaire upper class family. Oh God, like, oh That's so embarrassing. I know that the girl's probably been indoctrinated too, but I'd be mortified if I was in her position.
She's very modest. That's fantastic. That's great. Congratulations. Very big on school choice. Can you imagine we even have to talk about parental control and basically having parents get involved? We have school systems that don't even want to talk to the parents about their children. And you talk about changing gender and things where the child can make a choice and the child can be unbelievably young. The country has gone sick. It's gone sick. And I don't like the term woke because I hear woke, woke, woke. You know, it's like just a term that half the people can't even define it. They don't know what it is. But you look at these things like women getting, competed with, men that were men and are men, and they're out there swimming and setting records. You see the records that are being broken? Records that lasted for 19 years are being broken by, 30 seconds. They're trying to win by a 16th of a second in swimming on one of the events. A 16th of a second they're trying to win for years. And a guy comes along and breaks the record by, numbers that will never be broken.
The way they talk about trans women in women's sports is always so funny to me because they make it like these they're bionic automatons with a flawless human performance, truly incredible stuff.
Again, unless you have another guy come along, and then he'll probably have it broken. The whole thing is crazy. I'm not a fan of LeBron James, but I said, if I were the coach of a women's basketball team, I would have the greatest team. I'd say, LeBron, would you like to become a woman? And I'd go to another 4 or 5 big guys, and I'll say, how about we will be undefeated for many, many years. There will never be anything like it. I'll go down as the greatest coach in history. They'll say I was the greatest ever. No, it's so crazy.
Kind of crazy how this has never actually happened, right? The funny thing is that like in a especially before this became like big public discourse or whatever, the idea of like a coach cynically trying to like groom a male athlete into transitioning so they could set even better records as a female athlete, that's not like a thing that happens. It's made up. But it's something that like I feel Republicans think happens, but it's never happened. At least to my knowledge, there's never been a story like that, like ever, at all. I don't know.
And that's all woke. That's all, I guess they define that as woke, but that's all woke. We have to bring common sense back into the country. People say, oh, you're conservative. I said, yeah, I'm conservative. But more important is I'm a person with common sense. And so are the people in this room. And our country needs common sense back in leadership. We had great common sense for 4 years. And we produced the greatest economy ever. I rebuilt our military. I mean, the $85 billion was massive, but it was just a small portion of what we rebuilt. It was a massive amount, but a small portion. But when you look at what we did at the border, when you look at what we did in every single aspect, even right to try, where we had for 58 years they've been trying to get this, where
he really doesn't have the same magic anymore, does he? Like, he's still funny and wacky and everything, but it's definitely different. It's just not the same as it was before. I mean, compared to DeSantis, obviously, he's a wellspring of charisma. I'm not denying that. Just, it's not the same. It probably does. The lighting here probably does not help. He looks kind of muddy and washed out. You know what I mean?
we have very far-reaching drugs that were good, but they're not approved by the FDA, and somebody's terminally ill. And we couldn't get the drugs. They'd go to Asia, or if they're poor, they just go home and they die. They have no hope. But they'd go to Europe. They go all over the world looking for something. And I signed a bill, very hard to get, actually very complicated, because the drug companies didn't want it, the labs didn't want it, the doctors didn't want it, because, you know, they thought they had liability. I signed a non-liability clause. I got it approved. And everybody's happy. We've saved, with Right to Try, we've saved thousands and thousands of lives of people that are terminally ill. And people would say, well, we can't do that because they may die. I said, they're going to die anyway. And yet they were in there for close to 60 years now trying to get that.
As he's saying this, remember that a huge amount of the arguments made against hormones and puberty blockers are that they're like dangerous or ineffective even though they've been studied for decades, or that the use of puberty blockers to treat gender dysphoria is an off-label use in accordance with the FDA. They're very like it's all like pro ivermectin when they want X, but when they don't want Y, it's well actually, you know, we adhere only to the highest standard of medical skepticism when it comes to recommending drugs.
Approved, and I got it approved through Congress. I got it approved. You had to go through Congress on that one, and we're saving lives, tremendous numbers of lives. I'm very proud of that one. Right to try. It sounds easy. You'd think it would be easy to get it approved, actually, but it was very, very tough. Gone for many, many years. I took care of the vets better than anybody. We had a 92% approval rating, and now it's going way down, I understand. But we...
Vosh, are you able to break down a door? What? Do you just mean like a regular wooden door? I've never tried. Hasan did it? Okay. Have you ever punched a wall? No. Why would you punch a wall? Could you eat a door in one sitting? It's an H3H3 reference from Leftovers. Ah, I see. I feel like I could kick down a door. Like a regular wooden door. Some doors are pretty big and strong though. I don't know. Hasan broke a door on Leftovers. That's why people are... What does that have to do with anything? What are you guys talking about? Hold on. Why did he break down a door? People just want to thirst over you bashing a door because they want you to bash them. I think bottoms don't deserve rights. I agree. Normally, I would agree, but for Pride Month, I will ease up on my anti-bottom rhetoric.
Guys,
back out! Okay. The problem here is that there's not a lot of space to like to brace yourself to like do a f***ing kick.
We've all been operating under the same conditions.
Yes. No, I know. I'm saying I'm getting my bearings in. I'm not gonna be able to take this with a kick, I don't think.
Let's see. I think you might. Whoa, my God. Wait, hold on. I think our building's about to collapse. Support that.
You can literally kick it.
Yeah. Whoa! Whoa!
Okay, wait, hold on. This is a PSA to everyone. You should never try to break down a door with your shoulder. This is something they do in movies because they think it's emasculating for a guy to lift his leg up to do a giant drop kick. You do not want to do this. Yeah, that's gonna hurt you.
It's hard.
Yeah, you know because you're using your shoulder. Yeah, you're supposed to apply force right here near the handle because that's where the lock is keeping the door from going in. Your shoulder applies force right here. That painting on the wall? What the f is that painting on the wall? Wait, where are they? The H3H3 studio? Why do they have the... Okay. Epstein's Island, yeah.
I think is happening. Maybe was hitting it lower where the hinge is.
Yeah.
That could have helped.
Belle Delphine painted it for H3. Oh, that's kind of cool.
But Amy's a psycho, man. You should have seen the way he threw himself at that door.
Yeah! Oh, see, he got... Okay, see, look, he got it because he got it closer to the lock here.
He threw himself at that door.
Yeah! That's gotta hurt, though. You don't want to do that with your shoulder. You want to do that with your foot. Oh, he's deaf feeling that. Oh, you're deaf feeling that. Yeah, for sure. Your turn? I'm not ramming shit with my shoulder. You kidding me? Absolutely not. You can really hurt yourself that way. I'll kick a door down. I bet I could kick a door down. I've got big legs. Vosh's hair looks so gay today. Oh, yeah, I finally got I got hair gel. So it's not just like cheap hairspray. I got like actual hair gel. I think it's nice. I put too much in it at first. I had to like ruffle it out though. So I'll yeah, for Homo Month, exactly. Pomade, clay, gel, or spray. Gel. How do you grow your arm hair out? What are we doing? Can we just finish this?
You know, we had a lot of bad people in the VA, and you weren't able to fire them because of civil service and various other reasons. And I got that taken care of, and we let go of 9,000 really bad people. And I also, people were waiting in line for literally months. And some people were becoming terminally ill because they couldn't get something taken care of early. And I said, you wait in line, and you have to wait in line for more than 24 hours. You go outside to a private doctor. We pay the bill, and you get yourself taken care of. We went up to a...
Okay, this is jibber jabber. I don't care anymore. Trump is boring when he rambles. I agree. He's boring when he rambles off topic. Link the speech. President Biden falls on stage. Uh-oh. He's dead! Mr. President, get down. What you didn't see because of your slow human eyes is that he actually dodged a bullet there. He actually dove for cover to dodge the sniper bullet. Well done. Well done, Mr. President. Hey, can't wait to vote for this guy in a year. Woo! Ha ha, it's gonna be great.
Wing, 10 shot. Mr. President, thank you for joining us.
Nice. He didn't see the step down. I feel like it's a common mistake. Oh yeah, for sure. It doesn't actually mean anything, but goddamn, he is old.